Hello, good day everyone. Welcome to Amless TV. Please subscribe and click the notification bell. Thank you. Nigeria has reported the first confirmed case of coronavirus in Sub-Saharan Africa. An investigator alarmed over a potential global pandemic. Dependent stock market loses around the world. Nigerian officials said the case involved an Italian citizen who entered the country on 24th February on a Turkish airline flight from Milan via Istanbul. The virus has proliferated around the globe over the past week. The Nigerian case is just the third to be confirmed in Africa, something that has puzzled health specialists given the continent's close ties to China. According to Nigerian officials, the Italian man stayed in a hotel near the airport on the evening of 24th February, then continued to his place of work in neighboring Ogun State. He was treated on 26 February at his company medical facility before health practitioners there called government biosecurity officers, who transferred him on 27 February to a containment facility in Yaba, Lagos. He was clinically stable with no serious symptoms, authorities said. In recent weeks, testing regime and isolation facility have been reinforced.
Nigeria has announced its first confirmed case of the novel coronavirus, which is also the first for Sub-Saharan Africa. The health minister says the case is of an Italian national who entered the country from Milan earlier this week. Egypt and Algeria are the other African countries that have reported cases of the disease. The ministry said the patient was the patient is clinically stable and with no serious symptoms. Not critical, clinically stable with no serious symptoms. Let's bring in Phil Ihaza now, our correspondent in Abuja, Nigeria, for the latest. Phil, what are you learning this morning?
An Italian man who has been confirmed as Nigeria's first coronavirus case after arriving from Milan was in the country for almost 2 full days before being isolated, traveled through Lagos and visited another state. The case has prompted a scramble by authorities in Africa's most populous country to try to meet and observe all who arrive on the same flight as the Italian and to identify the place he visited before going to the hospital. We have started working to identify all the contacts of the person since he entered Nigeria and even those who were with him on the aircraft, Health Minister Osaije Ehanire told reporters on Friday in Nigeria capital, Abuja. So this is the advice on how to protect yourself and how to take care of yourself.
Population need to be doing now is maintaining a very, very high standard of hygiene. Hand hygiene, hand washing with soap and running water for at least 20 seconds. As many times as you can during the day, and certainly the use of alcohol-based sanitizers in between times is extremely important. It is also important that we should avoid touching our faces, particularly with hands that haven't been washed recently. You will find that if you try to make a habit of this, initially it will be very difficult, but it's important because most and generally the transmission has been from people touching surfaces that might have been contaminated and then after that touching their faces. So as much as possible, try and avoid touching your faces. Of course, we also ask that you maintain very, very high standards of respiratory hygiene, which means that when you're coughing, cough into the bent elbow of your sleeve or cough into a handkerchief or tissue, a tissue preferably, which can be thrown away. And then maintaining social distance, which is at least a minimum of 0.5 meter to 1 meter away from people, which means that this weekend, those parties, maybe we need not to be at so many and certainly not the very crowded ones. The next important thing that Nigerians need to be aware of is that please do not treat a fever at home anymore. I know there are generations of us that have been brought up in the malaria era where, we immediately there was a fever, we were told what to do. Please, 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 those times have changed. If anybody starts having a fever around you, encourage them, beg, plead that they go to a hospital so that they're properly tested. The important thing is that, yes, coronavirus is here with us. It's Not as big a deal. Don't forget, we're still dealing with Lassa fever. And the biggest problem we have with Lassa fever is that everybody tends to treat high temperature with anti-malarials, not realizing that they may not be treating a malaria, which further prolongs the disease situation in the body and makes the outcome even more unfavorable. So please, 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 anybody around you that has a fever, encourage, beg, plead, take them to the nearest hospital and let them be tested properly. Once we know we're not dealing with the malaria, we know what to do. We do know what to do. Thankfully, because of thankfully is not quite right, but you know what I'm talking about. Because of the Lassa fever, the country has been, and Lagos State has been in a very high state of preparedness. And therefore, and you can see from the speed of reaction to this gentleman coming into the country, you can see that this gentleman's virus walked into a battle-ready state. We are battle-ready. However, without the population, without the people partnering with us to make sure that our battle-ready stations are met with equal concentration, it'll all fail. We can all be battle-ready in the hospitals and the primary healthcare centers. If the patients don't come in, if people don't come in with their fevers, there's nothing we can do to help them at home or in the marketplace. So please, 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 Nigerians, high standard of hand hygiene, hand washing as often as you can during the day, soap and running water. If not, get a sanitizer, keep it in your bag, in your pocket, somewhere nearby, and try and sanitize as often as possible. Keep surfaces clean, particularly those of you with children. Doorknobs, tabletops must be kept clean. Wipe it down with a mild solution of bleaching water. Wipe down constantly. When you buy stuff in the market, in the supermarkets, and you bring them home, wash them before you put them away, so that as much as possible we reduce the transmission, the contact transmission of these viruses. This also works for Lassa fever. So we've been preaching this message, and it's the message that continues. The good thing about this is that coronavirus thankfully has a very low case fatality rate. When caught in time and the person is properly supervised and monitored in a health facility, the chances are he's going to walk out of there cured, well treated, and perfectly all right. So that's our message as the Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria. Hand hygiene, respiratory hygiene. When you're coughing, make sure you cough into your sleeve or into a tissue and throw it away. Stay away from people who are coughing. And if you don't feel well, stay at home and get